Did you still get good grades or like how? Obviously you did. I know you did. We already know this, but did
Oh my
you get
god.
immersed in that culture as well or
Not
tell me?
initially. It took
Yeah.
me a while. Like
Really?
I came from a very conservative Chinese Malaysian family. So prior to coming to Australia, like I was never exposed to party life or drinking life. I was always kind of like, oh, I'm just gonna have a sip or two. Really, just afraid of what would happen to me if I'm intoxicated. And I think that's the part that I also kind of feel like I didn't blend in very well initially because of that, because a majority of the cool kids are partying and I was at that time not really kind of like knowing what to do. So it took me a while to kind of slowly immerse myself into that.
Hello there, it's Asami with you here. Today I'm so excited for you to meet On, who is one of those people that on paper seems so intense, but then in real life, I would say they're like a little bit of a joker, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying that. We get so deep in this conversation, which was all about being an international student, cultural identity, belonging, and coming out to your friends and family in your own time. But for some reason, it ended up being such a funny conversation, and I honestly laughed so much. So let me just introduce you to him properly before you meet the real deal. Dr. Zhi Xiang On is a clinical psychologist, forensic psychologist, clinical neuropsychologist, and the director of a private practice called Back on Track Psychology. On strongly emphasizes a collaborative, safe, values guided therapeutic relationship. Some of his work includes forensic risk assessments, treatments for violence, sexual offending, and victims of crime. Also, supervision to clinicians, teaching, research, as well as independent and joint medical examinations for the Transport Accident Commission. On is passionate about helping individuals understand their strengths, supporting them on their journey to lifelong well-being. We hope you enjoy our chat. Welcome to the Asian Mental Health Podcast, brought to you by Shapes and Sounds. Hi, On.
Hi, Asami.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the Asian Mental Health Podcast. It's so lovely to have you on the show.
Yay.
Yeah, here we are. Okay.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, the first part's always the weirdest, but let us begin. So, like many international students, you arrived in Australia in your teenage years. And this season, as you know, we're talking all about international student mental health and well-being. So can you share a little bit about your experience of coming to Melbourne and studying here?
Yeah, of course. I remember when I first came here, I was very, very curious, that's for sure. Like I really wanted to like explore the city and like, find out more about the city and I try to meet new people. All of that was like very, very fun for me. But I also remember that I was super naive as well. I think the culture shock for me was really just big
Yeah, wow.
because I came from a very small town in Malaysia called Klang.
Okay.
And then coming here to like a big city, I'm like, oh, there was a naive part of me that kind of like thought that um, things were still the way like how we operate back in Malaysia, and then like just have to navigate that. That was a bit challenging for me for sure.
Yeah, like tell me about some of the culture shock that you experienced, like any specific examples that come to mind?
Yeah, I think first one it's I never used to walk this much. I remember I was living on college campus already.
Yeah.
And then everyone was like really just walking to uni. It was only a 15-20 minutes walk. But then back then, like no one walked 15 minutes to 20 minutes in Malaysia because of the weather is so
Yep.
hot. Like everyone just kind of like used to drive and everything, drive everywhere. So I was like, why are we walking?
It's
There's a
so
tram.
far.
It's so far.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me how old you were and what you were studying, actually.
Yeah, so I was 19. I just turned 19. And I was studying psychology, Bachelor of Arts at Melbourne Uni, major in psychology and sociology.
Okay. And here you were in Melbourne, moved from Malaysia, walking around because you had to. Tell me about, like, socially, what did your friends group look like? How did you even meet them in the first place?
I live on campus at college, so a lot of friends just come naturally from college. And this is the naive part that comes in. I I really thought that I think at the beginning I really thought that all Asian that I see in on college campus, they are all kind of like just Asian, like they must be international students and they must be from, like, like me, from Malaysia, or like from Hong Kong, Japan, Korea, or whatsoever.
Yeah.
Quickly noticed that there are this thing called Asian Australian or Australian Asian.
Yeah. Okay, please tell me more.
I felt so much shame because I was like, I was really just like, oh, what do you mean you're from here? And then they were like, yeah, I'm from here. And then I was like, no, you're not from here.
Like, where are you really from?
Yeah. Cringe. I felt cringe just talking about it. I was like, yeah, I was really naive.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a part of me that was just like, yeah, why is everyone like telling me that they're from here? And
How did they respond to you though?
I think they were also really shocked. They were like, "What do you mean? Like, I was born in Essendon or Mildura
Yeah.
or, Q, la la la." And I was like, "Huh?"
This is one of my favorite topics to talk about, actually. On a personal note, the Asian Australians, the ABCs, the ones that were born here, second gen, and newer migrants, and the tension that exists within our communities, within this one Asian community, because there's a lot of nuance. And it's like, if someone asked me, no, where are you really from? I'd be like, oh, come on. We've had this conversation many times. Like, we don't ask that anymore.
Yeah.
But it's like, when I speak Asian to Asian, I feel different when someone asks me that question too.
Yeah, I get it. Because I felt like it depends on, our understanding of the other person's perspective, right? Because I think at that time, I was just genuinely this really naive person that has this really small worldview.
Yep.
And my worldview was my hometown. And that was everything that I know about this world before I came to Australia. So being thrown into this really diverse, multicultural, and just being exposed to so many different people in my life that I've never seen or never heard before, that was huge. And I think that kind of like, it's a shock to my system as well.
Yeah.
And I was really just like, thank you so much for letting me know. And then I was like, thank you so much that I didn't know about all of this. And I felt like I had to learn so much in such a short time. Just from all perspective, not just about, Melbourne itself, but about culture, about people, where they're from. Yeah.
And that there's even this thing like second gen, diaspora. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then, so were they a part of did you make friends with the second gen people, or did your friends make up look more like international students? Or
Yeah, a bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the college, it's a lot of like Australian, second gen Asian Australian were there, or just, white Aussie were there as well. And also some international students. So it was a mix. And college, it's such a beautiful place that it's just put this bunch of people together, and then you will just throw in deep in terms of like, you're going to hang out with them 24/7. You live together, eat together, you go to class together. So you were forced to like hang out with a lot of people straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine like that's what people need to really form relationships and friendships, right?
Absolutely.
But I've also heard colleges have like a really intense like partying culture as well. Like, did you still get good grades, or like how? Obviously you did. I know you did. We already know this, but like, did you get immersed in that culture as well, or
not initially? It took me a while.
Really?
Like,
were you shocked?
I was really shocked.
Yeah.
I was like,
Okay.
I mean, I came from a very conservative Chinese Malaysian family. So prior to coming to Australia, like, I was never exposed to party life or drinking life. I think it took me a couple of years to kind of like truly kind of immerse myself into that. Initially, I was really guarded
Hmm.
when it comes to party and when it comes to drinking alcohol. I was always kind of like, oh, I'm just gonna have a sip or two. Really, really guarded. Really just afraid of what would happen to me if I'm intoxicated. Just because it was kind of like the way that I was taught, like don't let alcohol control you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And like
Yeah,
bad things can happen. Yep.
absolutely. And I think that's the part that I also kind of feel like I didn't blend in very well initially because of that, because everyone is like so into partying, and not everyone is so into partying. The majority of the cool kids are
Hmm.
partying, and I'm not really, I was at that time not really kind of like knowing what to do. So it took me a while to kind of navigate that and kind of slowly immerse myself into that. So my grades were not very effective because I
Okay.
wasn't partying a lot,
Yeah.
but there was still some impact in terms of like just navigating a new environment, navigating a new system. It took me a while to kind of like let my inner systems kind of like settle in as well.
Like finding the balance between social as well as making sure you get good grades, and like it kind of evened out towards as your degree progressed, would you say? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm just putting
no,
words in your
no,
mouth. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. I
Yeah.
was also, I was such a weird kid. I was also very ambitious as well. So like
Okay.
when I first came, I was like very keen on getting a part-time job straight away. Because I was like, I need to like, get the full Melbourne experience.
Yeah.
I was like, let's try and find a part-time job. So I think, yeah, navigating work, social, and academic performance, that was certainly a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my first time when I first went to a counselor, my first discussion with a counselor was, how could I be more productive?
It's a good question.
It's
Yeah.
like, I need to get more things done, but I'm really struggling.
Yeah. Well.
So that was my first exposure to university counseling
Mm.
service. Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about that? Like, how did you find out about it? What made you go in the first place?
Yeah, because I studied psychology, so I already kind of like have an interest in terms of like mental health and my own mental health as well.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I was a uni student, so I didn't have a lot of money to start with. And uni counseling was kind of like free and like accessible to students. And yeah, I just kind of like Google it online. I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna make an appointment for myself. Rock out, make an appointment for myself, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to counseling. But I still remember my first few sessions. Again, this very guarded presentation of myself. Like I just didn't know what I can tell the counselor. I was like,
Mm.
there was a lot of impression management as well.
Mm. Like, as
Which
in, like, impression management being like how the therapist sees you,
absolutely.
like make sure that you're the best client that this therapist is going to see today. Oh, yeah.
Kinda, yeah, kinda like I'm gonna like make sure I do all the homework the therapist prescribed me. Uh, yeah, no, that was yes,
Oh, wow.
very
Okay.
guarded as well. Because I just at that time I felt like I wasn't new environment. I don't know who I can trust and who I can't trust. So there was kind of like this guarded element there as well, even with my counselor at that
Mm.
time. But she has helped me tremendously,
Yeah,
even just
right.
in the short amount of time that I see her. Yeah,
You let that guard down over time?
over time, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Being able to share with her more, being
Okay.
able to like tell her my actual struggle instead of the struggle that I come up just for her. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Tell us about that, because I think a lot of people do that too. It's like, I think the therapist will like to hear this from me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, initially I
Yeah.
was going in for procrastination, and I was like, I want to be her better self because I'm procrastinating too much. And then slowly I was just revealing it to her that
Mhm.
I'm really not coping. I just pretend that I am.
Yeah.
Like, I just pretend that I have landed to this beautiful country and I cope so fine. But really, I feel a lot of emotions. I feel a lot of like, fear, anxiety, a
Hmm.
lot of shame as well. When I told you about how I didn't know there's this thing called Asian Australian,
Yep.
I certainly felt a lot of shame from that process too, because I felt like how am I discriminating my own people? Like,
Mm.
these are Asians as well. Why am I like making assumption of them? So certainly feel a lot of shame there. So there was I think there was a lot of feelings in the first few years.
Yep.
And then I just kind of like push it down and like keep functioning and keep going. And then eventually my counselor was able to see those parts of me.
Yeah. As in, like, okay. Now we see the real On. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you feel shifts in your identity as you allowed yourself to open up more and be seen? Did you feel changes within yourself?
Absolutely, absolutely. I feel like parts have changed
Mm-hmm.
and parts stay the
Mm-hmm.
same. I'll start with what have stayed the same. So I feel like my funny and outgoing and kind of generous kind of personality are still kind of the same. Like I have always been like this. Um, but then over time, I also feel like I was able to let my guard down and let more people in and let more people to not just know this funny On, but also let them know about the real On and who I am as a person, to be able to show my vulnerability, to be able to share with others about, my own difficulties, my own challenges, my sexual identity. That was a really big one as well. So yeah, over time, I felt like I let more people in, and by letting more people in to get to know my inner parts and to get to know me,
Yeah.
that has shifted my identity in some ways, because then I could express the real me even more towards others.
Mm-hmm. And as scary as it is, it feels better.
It definitely feels better,
Yeah.
but it was very scary for
Yeah.
sure. It was very scary. I still remember this very clearly. In college, I came out to this very, very long term friends who have knew her since Malaysia, and then she came here as well to study. Um, I remember I cried for 2 hours before I even told her that, babe, I just need to tell you I'm gay. Like,
Yeah.
um, and then she was like, "It's okay. I've been waiting for you to let me know that."
Oh, wow.
It was really sweet,
Yeah.
and she just sat there and watched me cry for 2 hours, like, and really just unconditionally. There was no agenda from her.
Yeah.
She was just really happy to be there, to just kind of like sit and witness my process, and we're still really good friends now.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
imagine. I feel like someone like that is not someone you want to let go easily, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah,
Wow.
it has been a process.
Yeah. I feel very moved by that. You were like, you thought you were going to cry, but I feel a bit teary. Okay, I'm going to focus. But
I certainly felt that because you
Yeah.
sent the questions,
Yeah.
some of the questions,
Uh-huh,
and you kind of like flagged me already. I was like reading those questions. I'm like, oh my God, I'm already feeling these
yeah.
emotions. Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that story too. And I think we have a lot of young people listening to the podcast who are also navigating, how do I come out to my family? How do I come out to my friends? Do you have any experiences that you could share with people, especially around family? I think sharing your sexual identity with your family, like, is this something that, came smoothly to you, or was it a long process?
It was certainly a very long process for me. I think I only came out to my parents when I fully settled in Australia, and I felt safe here, and I felt like I could finally let them know. My advice for other people who are still in the process, or who are still thinking about coming out to their parents, is to let them know that you know your family best. So you go with your process.
Mm.
In terms of like what you need to do or what you should do, I feel like you would know what you need to do and you would know what you should do because you were born in that family and you grew up with that family as well. So you know them really well and you know what it is going to look like. So just trust your inner feelings and go with that. If you're not ready, that's so fine as well,
Yeah.
right? Like just maybe it's not safe. Maybe part of you is telling you that, don't do it now because it's gonna be bad for you. Then just go with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very important that you listen to the different feelings and different parts of you that it's inside, within yourself, and then use your inner wisdom. But also don't be afraid to reach out to your friends or to reach out to support as well and brainstorm with them, think about ideas with them, how you could do this, go talk to peers, go talk to peers in the community. But at the end of the day, you have to be listening to your inner self as well, because other people can give you all these beautiful advice that's very applicable to their case, but maybe not applicable to your case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like reach for every resource that you can, but always know that at the end of the day, it's your decision, it's your truth, it's your family, it's your relationship, and like your timing, right?
You said it so
Yeah.
beautifully.
No, you said it so beautifully. I'm just
Yeah,
summarizing. I'm just being a therapist.
That was like such a great summary. I was like,
thanks.
Love. Can we just cut that and then like use AI to like help me to say that?
No, I'm literally just doing the job. We know these tricks, We know these
that
tricks.
Was really good. That was
Thanks.
really good.
It's not about me. It's about you. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, one thing you said just in that was there was a moment that you were like, okay, I feel really safe in Melbourne. But tell me, like, was there an exact moment when you were like, oh, I feel at home here? Did something like that happen for you?
I felt like I have multiple moments and then I go kind of like in and out. But then I felt like, when I move out of college, like I stay in college for a very, very long time because it was my safe space. I know the place already. I know everyone there. And I know that, things are being taken care of. I don't have to worry too much. So I stayed there for like maybe 6 years of my life, first as a student and then as a resident tutor.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I just kind of like stayed there. And
you were there, yeah.
Which is weird because like everyone is like, "What? You're still at college?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm still at college." And then later on, I moved out to an apartment with my sister and start renting and start buying furniture and start like doing all of that. That was when I truly felt like, oh my God, like these things actually belong to me.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary. What do I do? Like, because I never truly had a plan of staying here for the rest of my life. Not even now. I don't even know whether like I have like it's a 100% plan at the moment. I couldn't even say that out loud. I know that I will be staying here for the foreseeable future. But when I first moved out and got all of the furniture, I was like, ooh, this is real. I guess like I can't go anywhere else anytime soon.
I'm stuck here now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting feeling, isn't it? Like, am I here? Like, are you happy in Melbourne? Are you like happy?
I feel like I wouldn't say like, I would say, cliche, feelings come and go, you are happy and you are sad and you are anxious. Yeah. But I think that's my real answer. Like, I'm really happy in many ways. I feel really safe here. I feel really happy here. All my friends are here. But also my family is back in Malaysia. So I also feel like, oh, it's nice to see them. Like, it's nice to like, if I could like, stay with them longer as well. But then, moving to Australia, like one of the biggest thing was that it really opened up my worldview as well in terms of like I now enjoy traveling a lot, and it's like really a big part of my identity that, I wasn't like this in the past. Like, I remember as a teenager, if my parents were like, let's go for a trip, I'll be like, no, I'm not going for a trip. I was in Chinese debating team and I
Yeah.
love debate with my parents. And I'll tell them that, going for a trip is useless. Like you could see all parts of the Great Wall on the internet. If you just rock up there as a trip, you couldn't see all these beautiful angles that I can find on internet for you. So why bother going on a trip?
Oh my God. I'd be like, oh, this kid.
I was like, I was not an easy child. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
But now you like traveling. So here we are, right?
Now I'm traveling,
Yeah.
which is identity shift. Coming back to your question, yeah.
Okay. So that was you as a child and obviously as a student. And then now let's talk about you as a clinician. You're a clinical forensic psychologist. Is that the title? A forensic
Clinical psychologist, forensic psychologist, and
and
clinical
neuropsychologist.
neuropsychologist.
Okay, yep.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah, it's a mouthful, but it's amazing what you've done, right? So after all these years of study that you must have done to complete that, you began your clinical practice. And I've heard that when you started working with people and some complex clients as well, like different emotions came up for you, like a lot of complex stuff, and you had to learn about yourself even more. Can you tell us about some of those experiences?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think when I started my first placement, I was at uni, at the Latrobe Psychology Clinic. That was my first ever placement and first ever time doing any sort of like assessment or any sort of like treatment for anyone. That was very interesting because people were coming in with all sort of difficulties. And one of the difficulties were academic difficulties and stress and anxiety. And then I was like, oh my God, I feel you too. Because I during my time doing my master degree at La Trobe, I certainly felt a lot of stress because I was kind of like navigating this whole new program, university, and also just like the first time being a therapist. I was like really stressed out, didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then the people that came into me was like, I'm really stressed out. I'm like, I'm also really stressed out. Like, when do we start?
Yeah.
So I like that brought out a lot of feelings within myself as well. And then slowly, kind of like there was this wanting to like do the best for my clients, but then really there was a lot of perfectionistic trait that I needed to work within myself as well. So that came up after that. And then more ongoingly, just working with different presentations will always bring up different parts within myself as well. I think initially I wasn't really kind of paying attention to my own inner feelings or to my own kind of like inner process.
Like you were just engaging cognitively with what the person is telling you, and you're like, oh, I learned about this, kind of like that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But not dealing with the juice underneath.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, because at the time I was really just overwhelmed and really just trying to, get through the next assignment, get through the next project, get through this caseload so that I can, submit that and then move on to my next placement. There was a lot of like, internal pressure. But that was also the time that I was kind of like coming out a little bit more. And that was also very challenging as well because, some of my clients were LGBT clients, and then even though they didn't come in specifically for LGBT issues, but then just, them coming in, I was like, oh yes, like
Something's moving.
yeah, something is moving. And again, not paying too much attention for that, for kind of like what's going on inside, and then later on, it all kind of like swamp in and all become like really really big.
What did that look like for you as a therapist? Like, are you kind of talking about burnout or just like I used to get a lot of skin problems?
Yeah.
Like did you have a symptom as such?
I had a lot of neck problem. So I
Oh,
really
interesting.
struggle
Yeah.
with somatic pain,
Okay.
and was really just causing by stress. And part of it was probably psychosomatic as well. And I was just like, oh, I'm just sitting down for too long, la la la. But really, it's just all these unprocessed feelings inside. And I remember during my master program, I took a longer time to finish the course as well because it was just very overwhelming for me. I'm also working through my own kind of identity issue. And I remember this very clearly. One of my uni professor, in which I'm still really close friend with, she pointed it out to me. She was like, I think you need to kind of like look inwards and work through some sexual identity stuff that wouldn't be easy for you. Um, but then I just got really triggered at that point. I was like, "You don't know me." I know that she was coming from a good perspective, but at that time it was really hard for me to digest. Um, so then, yeah, the whole process took like very, very long for me to complete my master program. I still finished it, but it certainly wasn't an easy journey for
It
me.
wasn't a smooth.
It
like,
wasn't a smooth journey at
I
all.
clacked up my different degrees, and it's not like that.
It's not
Yeah.
like that. It's
Yeah.
really not like that. I feel like people look at my qualification now, they were like, oh my God, you got so many qualifications. You must be really smart and really good at studying. I was like, oh, wait till you hear the story.
Yeah. That's what we were thinking too. We were like, wow,
Yeah.
how do you do so many things?
It was hard. It was hard. It was really, really hard, especially the master year, because that was when I was working through all of the sexual identity stuff. So that certainly took a lot longer.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to challenge myself a little bit more after that. I was like, okay, now that I've done this, I wanted to let's do it with like my actual capacity and see what it looked like. And then I went back to do the doctorate, and that was really smooth actually.
Okay.
Because I felt like I went in with a different energy, and I went in knowing that I have stuff that I need to deal with, and not really just kind of like pushing it down and letting it slide, and not being kind of like flare up or defensive when other people pointing it out. I felt like that was what was going on when I was studying my master. It's that other people can see that I'm struggling, sorry. But I was just really defensive about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I guess at that point, I see kind of like, if I'm telling people I'm struggling, that's my weakness. And if I'm telling them that this is my weakness, then they will use that against me.
Where does that come from?
Well,
You're like, I didn't sign up for this therapy session.
it's like, no, it's full-blown therapy.
Honestly, okay. Reframe my question, right? I am curious, but
Yeah.
it's like you said, okay, I had to work on myself, and I did work on myself, but how does one do that?
Yeah.
What does that actually look like? Like, is that thinking about things, talking about things? Like, what does working on yourself look like?
I think it's called, I would like to view it as reflective practice, or I would like to view it as understanding your own different parts.
Can you explain like parts as well? Like,
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we all have different parts. For example, just now when I was talking, there was a part of me that was like really just of the overworking one that is like driving me most of the time. But then there's also this fun part that just wants to have fun. And then there's this part of me that is like really afraid of being seen and trying to protect the vulnerable parts of me. And of course, I just talk about the vulnerable parts of me. There is certainly a part of me that is super vulnerable. And all parts serve different functions for us. And sometimes parts fight with each other. So
Okay.
this part of me that is overworking will fight with the fun part. The fun part just want to have fun. And then this part is like, but you got to work. And then you just have that internal conflict, which is very normal for human being. Sometimes you will say, a part of me want this, but a part of me want that. That is what I mean by parts.
Okay. And like working on yourself then is getting familiar with those parts and honoring them and like listening to them. Yeah.
Absolutely. Getting familiar with those parts. I'm still getting to know my parts, and sometimes there's new parts that comes out. I'm like, oh my God, that's this part that I feel really frustrated with all the other parts because I'm like, why aren't you all working on yourself? So really just understanding the different parts and not being blended with the parts, because sometimes when we get really blended with the parts, that part become us. So the really angry part become me, and I become an angry person. That's called blending. I
Okay.
become this part. But if we can unblend and acknowledge that I'm really angry because there's an angry part here trying to tell me that, I've been offended, I don't feel safe, then that's getting to know you and your parts.
And what is that angry part? Like, who is that angry part protecting? And so then you're like, okay, what's being protected and what needs care in this vulnerable part? And that's working on yourself?
You got it.
Oh my God.
You're
okay.
so good.
Thanks.
You're a therapist.
Well, that's a great time for a break on.
I love it. Let's go with that.
Okay. Let's take a short break. That's too funny. Okay, on.
Tell me.
So now we've heard about you, but now I want to ask you more about your perspective about the current mental health landscape, and what might be available for international students to access now. But I don't know, like, what do you think? Like, where can students start to seek help? Like, talk to us about uni counselling services, or other points of support that students might be able to engage in.
I'll start with the mental health landscape.
Yep.
I feel like we have a loneliness crisis.
Yep.
I feel like as we have more social medias, more AIs, and people have more ways to connect with each other, but the reality is we are feeling lonelier and lonelier in this process, and perhaps it's COVID. In terms of accessing help, I think it can be really challenging in terms of getting mental health support in Australia. I think at one of the peer leadership program, I spoke to a student who kind of like given this feedback that I feel super super grateful, but also like very guilty about. It's that how to see a psychologist, you actually have to pay out of pocket first, and then you get your OSHC, which is Overseas Students Health Cover.
Yep.
Yeah, to rebate it for you. That's a privilege itself in terms of having that money to pay up front and then get the rebate. And also the uncertainty as well in terms of like how much rebate am I gonna get? Is the insurance gonna approve it or not?
Yep.
And all of that. I just feel like that's certainly it's a barrier in terms of getting help and getting private psychologists.
Yeah.
And then there's also this fear in terms of like accessing uni service. It's that, what is uni gonna do with this information, whether this information is private and confidential, which is very fair that people feel fear towards that as well. But having said that, I do want to say uni service is probably the best first point to go to because it's free and it is private and confidential. All therapists who sign up to be a counselor at uni know that the confidentiality is they can't disclose your information to university unless you are at risk of harming yourself or other people. But otherwise, that would be a really good place to start.
Yeah, and it doesn't go on your academic transcript.
It does not go onto your academic transcript. You will not be discriminated. If anything, having show records that you are seeking help could be a valid way of getting special considerations or getting extension and things like that, because it's documented that you were struggling. That's an evidence that you could show university.
Yeah, wow.
Yes.
That's a good point. It's like it actually shows that you're taking steps to take care of yourself and that you might need additional supports put in place. Yeah.
Absolutely. The other kind of like mental health crisis that I'm seeing in private practice is that a lot of the time when I see international students who come in to get support, I feel like, wow, things have been going on for so long and you're only seeking help now. I just
Well,
feel really, yeah, really kind of like this urgency of like trying to jump in and trying to like help them as much as I can. But then I also feel really bad in a way that they must have, feel either financial burden or what other external kind of like reasons that make them kind of like wait for this long to get help.
yeah, well,
And often it can be quite late in terms of like asking for a special consideration at uni, or like asking for an extension. Things might be too late at often when I see them, I'm like, oh, you already passed this deadline for this application. So that's another problem that I'm seeing in private practice too. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the common themes is that, people are coming like a breaking point almost. And are there any other common themes that you see with international students that you work with?
Yeah, the other common theme is loneliness,
Yeah.
which is what we talk about. And just more recently, there might be some racial tension as well going on in our not just Melbourne, but just in the entire world, making people feel unsafe.
Yeah.
But also just the current political climate as well. So there are some international students who are also affected because of that as well, either directly or having a friends who have been affected and they feel impacted as well.
Yeah, right. What would you say to international students listening to this? And, it's like we know that small things can build up to a very, very heavy weight and a burden. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts about that you would share to international students about getting help?
Yeah, I would say try as best as you can to listen to your different parts, to be curious with your feelings. But sometimes also it is very protective to that we don't feel ready to do anything at that point and we wanted to wait. That is also super fine as well. Your system will let you know. So don't be afraid to listen, with your own inner thoughts, or listen to how you're feeling, and be gentle with yourself as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and don't be afraid to seek help. But go with your own pace and go with whenever you feel ready as well. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, right. There's no like correct time or way to do therapy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is no correct time or way.
Mhm.
I feel like if you are thinking about it, perhaps give it a go. You can always try it out and see whether it's for you or not. Because uni counseling service is free. So there is very little kind of like you're not investing a lot in this process. So just give it a try and be curious with it. That could be a good way of looking at it as well. Or alternatively, it's perhaps set a short-term goal for yourself, or kind of like set a short-term review for yourself. So perhaps you could go like, all right, I'm feeling quite uncomfortable right now. I'm dealing with quite a lot of things. I don't think I'm ready to seek help right now, but I'm gonna set an alarm for 2 weeks, and then I'm gonna, when the alarm go off or when the reminder pops up, then I will check in again and see what's going on at that point, so that you are taking accountability as well in this process.
Yeah, like almost like a friend that's there checking in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
checking in your future self.
Yeah.
I just want to check in with you in 2 weeks' time
Yeah.
and see where you are at.
Then you could be like, snooze.
Yes. And then set another
Yeah.
2 weeks. Or even writing it down.
Yeah.
I think there is so much benefits of writing down your thoughts and writing down your feelings. That itself can be very helpful as well.
And there's no right way to do it, right? Like, would you just suggest typing or pen and paper, like literally just writing whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally just writing whatever. There is more benefits to write it down using pen and paper compared to phone or typing. There is
Okay.
evidence to suggest that. Just because when you are physically writing it down, there's more cognitive processing that's going on there as well. So it is certainly more helpful in that sense. But if you're choosing between that and not writing, then doing your phone and going in on your phone, it's certainly good as well.
Okay. Okay. That's great advice. And just write whatever, right? It's not for anyone else to read.
Not for anyone else to read.
Please, no.
You don't have to take it to your therapist.
Yeah.
But you're so welcome to as well. Sometimes people go like, oh my God, like I walk into a therapy room and I forgot what I wanted to say. But
Okay,
if you
okay.
already wrote it down 2 weeks ago,
Here you go. Homework. Done.
done.
Best client of the day. Okay. Another thing that you reminded me of is, we're talking about therapy and journaling, but there's also, peer leadership or peer mentorship as well. And you spoke about it during our leadership program about how there's a growing interest in having a mentor, especially while you're studying. Can you talk to us about what that looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I can't remember what was the organization, but there was like a big organization in Australia that was kind of like looking into university students and trying to understand what the university students' needs are. So there is a growing interest of, getting a peer mentor or a student leader to kind of support the university students, and this interest is growing every year. And university, good news, they are listening to what the students needs as well, and they're providing more mentors
Fantastic.
in this process too, which is fantastic.
And can you go to a peer mentor for anything, or like what do you even ask them?
Well, you can go to a peer mentor for a lot of things. As a peer mentor, you should have been debriefed that there are things that you can help and there are things that you certainly cannot help.
Yeah.
And that's so fine, right? As a psychologist, there are things that I can help. And there are most certainly things that I can't help. Like if someone come to me and go like, I have a sore eye, I'll be like, you need to see an optometrist, babe. Like, wrong clinic. So same thing with a peer mentor, like, you can see them as like, brainstorming them with your peer mentor, and then they will be able to like let you know, oh, this is probably outside of my scope, but this is where I'll recommend you to get help from. For example, if you really struggle with like, let's say your general health, they might say that, oh, have you thought about using the uni clinic to go for your checkup? Because they kind of just bulk bill you. You don't even have to pay out of pocket first. Things like that. Yeah.
Okay. So they know like, all right, this is the edge of what I can, what I can support with, but the support pathway that I have is to help you navigate services and things.
Absolutely. That's one of the biggest role a peer mentor should have, which is just knowing what services university has or knowing what services in general and being able to direct the mentees to those services.
It sounds important. Like someone that is much closer to you than perhaps a service, right?
Absolutely.
During Student Changemakers as well, you shared a few acronyms that really stayed with the team. And I think they're great. Like if people are listening to this and they want to support their friends, they might not be peer mentors as such, but can you share some of those, the acronyms and like how students can look out for other students? And I actually don't think it's just for students. It's like how anyone could look out for others.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the acronyms that I shared was HEAR, because HEAR, here it's kind of like, listen, hear, easy to remember. And here is just stands for, first of all, hearing people out with empathy. And then you kind of, E stands for empowering. So you empowered them with like either suggestions of where they can go and seek help or suggestions of what they can do. A is you encourage them to take actions. And then R is regroup. You come back to it again and then you check with them. And then you check how they're going, whether those actions have been taken place or maybe they needed a little bit more prompting. So you come back to it.
I think that's so important. Like you're speaking about loneliness and that loneliness epidemic, but it's like here are ways in which any individual can contribute to making someone else's life a little less lonely, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's most people feel like they are going to be a burden when they do seek help or when they do talk to someone about their problems. But most people are very, very happy to help out and very, very happy to give suggestions or point you towards the right direction. So just have to remember that when you are reaching out and seek help, chances are the other person are very, very glad that you reach out to them because it makes them feel they're helpful.
I really want to pause there because that word burden is something that comes up so much in conversations within the Asian community. Like, one of the reasons why I don't seek help is I don't want to be a burden to others. I don't want to make people worry. I don't want this. And we're always using that word burden. But talk to me about that. Like, is that real? Is that an excuse that we make up? Like, what's the cultural consideration here? I don't know. I hear burden a lot.
I guess, well, we carry a lot of intergenerational burden in many, many ways. So I would say, yeah, it makes a lot of sense culturally as well. Like, growing up, we probably hear from our parents and say, oh, don't go and bother them. Don't be a burden to someone else. Like, don't try to keep it to yourself and don't make a lot of noise or don't kind of impact on other people. So it makes a lot of sense. Like culturally, we are trying to contain and we're trying to keep it to ourselves. Because there's also a big shame element as well, right? I feel like in Asian culture, shame, it's certainly a very strong element for me and my family. It's a lot of things. It's, keep it to the house. Like you don't want to share this because then we have to all be burdened by the shame.
Yeah.
So that's also a big reason why we don't seek help too. But if you could, sit with the shame and guilt and try to understand, why you're feeling this way, why am I feeling shame, why am I feeling guilt, then perhaps just having that conversation with yourself, it's already unburdening the process.
I think that's really tangible advice for students, especially many who might be listening who are Asian international students too, who this has kind of been a way of life or how families talk. Like, don't bother other people, don't burden them with your problems.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And also think about it from I love that, one really, really practical ways is if you put yourself in another person's shoes and go like, if someone else come and seek help from me, how would I feel? What would I do? And then quickly switch back. Could I be this person that go and seek help from other people?
Wow, I like that. Because as you say, most people are happy to help others and they feel kind of like wanted or like important or important enough in this person's life to be trusted with this information, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's like, when I see my clients as well, I feel like such a huge privilege, to be able to do this job because I felt like, they must have a lot of trust with me, to be able to share, what's going on in their life with me. So yeah, just thinking about that, like when you're when you're thinking about seeking help from other people, like you are giving this kind opportunity to this other person to be able to help you.
Yeah. Do you have any other advice or words of wisdom? You've been through this beautiful journey. Now you're an incredible, esteemed therapist. Running your own business as well. That's huge to say. You run your own business in this country. And I don't know. I'm like, what do you have to say for yourself? No. Do you have any words of advice for others and for current students?
Yeah. I would say just, embrace and enjoy the process. And that your current journey is a great journey. Just go with it and, be present and take us one step at a time and appreciate the ups time, but also don't shy the downtime away because they are there to teach us a lesson as well. You are gonna look back at it and go like, wow, I've come so far. Wow, I used to, not be able to do this, and now I'm able to do this. Wow, I used to have this massive challenge in my life, and I was able to like get past that challenge. If you just pause now and think about how many challenges, even as an international student, that you have overcome already, that itself reminds you already how much you have achieved and how much you have gained in this process.
And that gives you like the confidence to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I
Wow.
truly believe that everyone's systems or everyone kind of inner wisdom is there to kind of like help them to go past their challenges, whether there is working it out yourself or have the courage to seek help, or a bit of both. You will know what to do, and don't be afraid to reach out.
Trust yourself.
Trust
out.
yourself and reach out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Done.
You are good with your summary.
No, I'm honestly just copying what you're saying.
You're so good at it.
On, it's been wonderful to have you in the studio with us today. I feel like we could talk forever, but I'm going to let you go. But thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part of this Student Changemakers Leadership Program. And thank you for all the work that you do in the community too. You're incredible, just so you know.
Thank you.
So keep going.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I feel very, very grateful to have this opportunity to be here, to be able to share my thoughts and share my stories and share my feelings and all of the above to yourself and to whoever who is listening to this podcast.
Yay. And I should also mention that you're part of our Asian mental health practitioner list at Shapes and Sounds. So if you're listening to this and you think, wow, On would be a great therapist, this is what I said. I said, you'd be a great therapist, but now we know each other, so that would just be strange. But, if you're listening to this and you think On would be a really great fit for you as a therapist, you can find him over on our website at Just Shapes and Sounds. A good segue for me to say you can find us on Instagram and LinkedIn at Just Shapes and Sounds. If you could please subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. It really helps other people to find the Asian Mental Health Podcast. And we would love for you to share this episode with your friends, especially if you know of an international student, or if you are an international student, or if you are a service working with international students, because word of mouth really helps us to destigmatize and normalize mental health convos in Asian communities. So thank you, On. Thanks so much for your time. That was really
share,
fun.
and subscribe.
Yes. And find On Back on Track Psychology too. We'll link everything, so don't worry. But thank you, and goodbye.
Bye.
The Asian Mental Health Podcast is a production from Shapes and Sounds, and it's made on the stolen lands of the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nation. This show is hosted by Asami Koike and Marcus Lai and produced by Yo Chung. This season is brought to you by Embrace Multicultural Mental Health, and all thoughts and ideas you hear are independently ours and our guests.